So we just landed at Durban International Airport and we're on our way to the TyreLife Gate Auto Expo. So stay tuned and see what fun we're going to have now. Fun starts now. Guys are competing to win a 20,000 rand set of tires now. So whoever's got the fastest time to take the wheel off and run around in one circle and put the wheels back will win a set of 20,000 rand painted tires for the vehicle. So competition is stiff. Everybody's wanting to get involved now.
Hij was ook mama. Zit door in die lippie.
Ja, maar een koolvoetdeur. Die kwam iets gemaakt.
Ik zit in die lippie.
Yep. Wanneer het inderdaad uitvalt. Ja, val op je knieën, stomp en hard.
Ik zeg het zoek.
I'm back with George. We're at the Gate Auto Expo in Durban. So George, the point of this was the launch of the Patriot tire.
Correct.
I'm very curious about this Patriot tire because I've been getting a lot of questions from guys that are in the overlanding and 4x4 section. Because the thing with overlanding and 4x4, like me and you had a chat in the Uber earlier on, is that tires are often the last thing that guys think about. They're first thinking about roof racks and shocks and fridges and awnings and stuff, and they disregard good tire choice. So with Patriot, what is the benefit and why have you brought this tire into the market?
So as a result of the whole supply chain congestion, the lack of inventory, the resultant impact on cash, people's disposable income, we know we're going through a mini recession at the moment. As much as we love selling premium and only premium because we get such good service delivery out of it. We had to go and source something that also could suit the pockets of people that can't afford to pay.
The budget overlander.
It's not even a budget overlander, it's a quality overlander tire because you can't really have budget and overlanding in the same sentence.
That is very true. That's very, very true. Trust me, that's very true.
You know, a lot of guys would have you believe, you know, that they've got. You know, the other big problem in the overlanding business is we have many all-terrain lookalikes, which are not. They look like all-terrains, but they are passenger metric tires. In other words, they've got a passenger carcass. They're designed for minimal off-road, but designed to look good and give you that all-terrain off-road. This is not rocket science we're talking, Gershon. Like you've got a beautiful new 80 series. You now realize...
She's standing.
There she is, on an insane. You understand that every component that you fit to be self-sufficient has to be in sync with the vehicle.
You know, 100%. 100%. Otherwise, it throws the whole dynamic out.
We're not saying to you that the ST Max is better. We're saying to you, if you're going here, that's what we believe.
That's what, and you've got the trial and inclusive for me, but I'm not going to keep you up. Thank you, George. Thank you for bringing us down today. It was amazing.
Always lovely having you, Gershon.
Hot, it's lovely, but we've got a lot more stuff planned. So they're going to be having shows. They're having the show in Joburg, Durban, another one at the end of May, and then obviously Cape Town, it's the Rallycross, and then it's the...
Well, the Killarney
Dust
Art,
series.
yeah, and the Dust series. And look, there's a few other things. I mean, we will be publishing a lot of them on our social network platforms. And it just gives us the ability to really interface with consumers, get more to understand what they need rather than what we think they need.
Very well, good point. Thank you, George.
Thanks, Christian.
Nice
Thank you
seeing
very
you
much.
again.
Thank you.
Okay, George, Ross, always a great moment that we spent here with George from Cooper Tires, who've sponsored every expedition in terms of our tires, and this is expedition number 40. In my hand, of course, I have the good old Zulu talking stick, in Doguzok Pefamola, the stick that supposedly gives you the power to breathe words. We use the stick around every campfire. Ross often takes it out around the campfire. And
Memory stick.
Yeah, memory stick. And as the beard gets a bit grayer, Jenny, it can be served as an old memory stick. So here we are, the last journey. It took us from the Cape Agulhas, the southernmost point of the African continent where the two oceans meet, namely, hello Carl, namely the Indian Ocean and the Atlantic. And it was a journey to zigzag across all of Africa. And of course, there was a war going on in Ethiopia. We did a deviation there, Ross, through South Sudan, which sort of went reasonably well until we got to the buffer zone between North and South Sudan. So we had a lot of AKs up our noses, far too many, might I add, and a lot of illegal roadblocks and a lot of negotiating, and then finally being taken by the military in North Sudan, but making it through to Khartoum, zigzagging all the way through the Nubian desert, of course that's in Sudan, and finally through to Alexandria in Egypt. But remember, the journey was to go from Cape Agulhas all the way across Africa, across Egypt, to reach Cairo, Alexandria, and then of course for all of us in the team, none of us had experienced Eastern Europe, Ross. You know, that was quite something. You know, countries like hell, let's just go through them, like Greece, North Macedonia,
Kosovo, Serbia, yeah.
Montenegro,
Belarus,
Poland,
you went
Belarus.
closer.
So you can well imagine having to zigzag around Ukraine, zigzag around Belarus, being caught by the border guards in Belarus, camping wild in the forest, all that sort of stuff. So now a huge adventure, and you know, you realize there's also some lovely wild spaces in some of those countries.
Yeah.
Where you've got the right tires, size some low ratio, and you just get into these forests where you can just camp wild. Of course, the main aim of the African crossing, as always with Cooper Tires there, George, was to ensure that we carried on with our humanitarian work.
Yeah.
We were able, Ross, how many people were we able to?
300,000. 300,000 people looked after.
So we looked after
From,
300,000 people.
what was it, malaria?
Right to start the distribution
Yeah.
of spectacles,
Yeah.
the distribution of mosquito nets to
Yeah.
pregnant moms, and life straws
For water.
purified water.
And then to that, add to that, which you know so well, the work with the rhino art and the elephant art. And of course, you must remember that we lived in the height of COVID. And
That's right,
yeah,
yeah.
and we were able to distribute 2,136,000 meals to mums with kids at isolated creches and ECD centres. So it was a huge start. So that looked after Africa. We got through to Alexandria, got through to Cairo, and of course across to Greece. And we've been listing some of the countries like little Lithuania, Latvia, Estonia. Yes, the sadness around the situation in Ukraine.
Ukraine, yeah.
You know, like captured tanks and doing interviews with refugees, little kids, their parents still fighting on the front. It's not a happy time. And then finally, of course, zigzagging. You know that Finland,
Yep.
once again, I'm just told, this year has won the happiest country in the world. And I told them we see more smiles in Zambia.
Then we do in Finland, 100%.
And quite frankly, there's more smiles in this Cooper Tires story than we saw it. But anyway, we survived all that, and of course, you know, you cross to Helsinki. What made Finland interesting? There's 185,000 lakes. So,
185,000
lakes. So, you know, in terms of putting the Cooper Tires to the test, the rocky terrain, the mud, the conditions, and never mind the Sahara, up against the Libyan border. One of the vehicles went flying, literally, over a dune, some 30 meters through the air. Not a single puncture on the
Didn't
dune.
turn.
No, survived it all. And then, of course, zigzagging through Norway. Now, there's a rule in Norway that you can camp in any vacant piece of ground. So, you know, when you're traveling with the South African rand,
You can't stand
talking
out of
stick in hand. We had the cheek once to go to a butchery. And Ross inquired as to the price of a 1 kg of sirloin steak, which came out at 1,350 rand. We ate chicken for 5 weeks. You just cut up big blocks of chicken, you know. On we went, Cooper Tires, one landing behind the other. But our purpose was to get to the most easterly point, all the different points of Norway, and of course, the final target, the final objective, to have gone from the southernmost point of Africa, Cape Agulhas, to the northernmost point of the Arctic Circle that you can drive a vehicle to. It's called Noordkap.
Okay.
And you can imagine the scene, the wind blowing, an Arctic storm, you could hardly see your hand in front of us. We built a little ECP vine in the African way, taking pebbles from Cape Agulhas, making a little ECP vine at Noordkap. And there are the 3 vehicles on the Cooper Tires, like that, the wind howling, and the calabash of water that we carried all the way from Cape Agulhas, emptying it onto the ECP vine of stones at Noordkap, and looking down across the North Atlantic. Had just missed and rain. We'd made it to a place that's often referred to as the top of the world. It was a first for the new defenders. No other Cooper Tires have done it. So this was a first. And
the Coopers have been to the Noordkap.
Yes. And what's interesting, of course, that
Where's that in Finland?
yeah, this is expedition number
Norway.
40. This is expedition number 40 that we've just ticked off. So, you know, when you think of it, there's world first, most of them world first. They've done the extreme points of north, south, east, west, the highest point, the lowest point in Africa. So number 40 was really meaningful for us, and I think really meaningful in terms of our long association with Cooper Tires. But because we're talking about Cooper Tires, can we add something?
Yes, you may.
It's about the tires. It's about the vehicles. It's
Yep.
about the kit. It's about the personalities. But more importantly, and George, we know you well, it's about using these adventures to save and improve lives.
100%.
And the malaria work, the right to start 265,000 pairs now of reading glasses to poor-sighted people, mosquito nets well over 1 million, and doing all that work to help other people that are less fortunate themselves
Yeah.
on the African continent. So, and where did we end? Having got to Noordkap, we zigzagged across Europe, across Sweden, across Scandinavia, down to Denmark, across Holland, across Germany, and of course to end at Anglesey in Wales, where at a beach at Red Wolf Bay. Rossa, tell us about the end.
Red Wolf Bay in Wales.
Red Wolf Bay in Wales.
So what was so pertinent about arriving at Red Wolf Bay, it was where the very first Land Rover, that sort of outline shell of the Series 1,
Yeah.
was first drawn in the sand at low tide.
At Red Wolf Bay.
Yes, by Wilkes in 1947, which there, at that stage when we arrived, marked 75 years
Of Land
of
Rover.
Land Rover. So absolutely superb. We were led in onto the beach by, I think they were 1953 Series 1 Land Rovers who completed the very, very first transcontinental trip across Africa.
The original vehicle.
The original vehicles. So they were there, as well as 4 vehicles from Slovakia in Nietzsche, where the new Defender is made. So they made the effort to come in. So incredibly historic end.
That's beautiful.
So yeah,
So those are the original.
The original.
the first 2 landies to cross Africa escorted us out onto the bay at Red Wolf Bay. So it's a world.
Was that not scripted? Did you
Yeah,
know they were going to?
No, it was all last minute.
They'd heard about it, they'd been following the journey, and they just put in their own effort
decided to be
time.
there.
As did loads and loads of other historic vehicles. All pulled in there to support us right at the end. Built another little one and emptied the last of the calabash. And and I think what's really important, George, is that this is expedition number 40 with Coopers. You know, and
What's
that's like,
41 going to be?
well, we've got
That's the exciting.
no, we're gonna discuss it with you. We can't do it in public because it's still
Still a little
it's still a
So
bit
there is a 41 coming.
most definitely. So there we go. There's this Vivan at the end. There's the vehicles making their way out to the end. Mission accomplished. Hot Cape to Holgate, from the southernmost tip of Africa to the top of the world in Norway's Arctic Circle.
How many was it? 3 vehicles and
3 vehicles.
6 people.
3 vehicles and 6
3
people.
vehicles, 6 people.
Okay.
Yeah.
And they were.
So basically 30 countries, 35,000 kilometers. So listen, I don't want to kind of like be an activist towards Cooper tires,
Yeah.
but that really for us is the proof. And any advice that you give,
That's nothing. It's
nothing else can do it.
100%.
It's what you've done, it's what you've
Yeah.
achieved. So as Kingsley was saying, 35,000 kilometers across the entire length of Africa from south to west, and then on to the most northern point of the
Yep.
continent. So basically an expedition, Hot Cape to Cold Cape, taking the vehicles from the most southern point that you can drive a vehicle to the most northern point, all in Cooper tires, not a single puncture, 35,000 kilometers.
Incredible.
So absolutely, congratulations, an absolutely incredible testimony.
George, absolutely.
Thank you guys.
Congratulations.
I do.
No, all I'm saying to you from my perspective, you know, it's always been great, firstly because of the mission that it serves. That's very important for us. We like to be associated with giving back. I think when you get older, you appreciate that more. More importantly, as you quite rightly say, if people say to me, and I've been in the tyre game for many years, I need to travel to Egypt, you've got to put a quick tyre in there. I know which tyre it's been because I know you guys have used it. Yeah. So when you talk SCT Pro, SCT Max, ATC LT, those have proven themselves. It's nice to hear it from people that are not biased about it. You use it. You wouldn't use it again if it didn't work.
No.
That's the simple thing. It's not a lot of guys say, but they get the tires for free and everything. I say no. People that are explorers are very conscious about doing it correctly because any form of breakdown is a hell of a discomfort at the time that it happens.
And maybe, George, just taking it further is your personal safety. Is, you know, you rely on your tires, and you know, when there's too many AK-47s, too many rebels, the situation is extremely tense, like it was between South and North Sudan. You literally survive on your tires, and should you have a puncture in the wrong place, or you lose a tire in the wrong place, it could cost you your life. Now, it was like that when we did Extreme East, you remember,
Yep.
the most easterly point of
Yep.
Somalia. So yeah, never mind that tires have delivered so much relief items to people in need. It's also means it saves our lives on many
No,
occasions.
100%. And that's look, guys, as you well know, our sponsorship goes way far further than just a set of tires.
Yeah.
You know, you guys know that we believe in what you do. And as such, TyreLife Solutions will constantly be shotting you with whatever you require to get to where you need to go to.
Much appreciated.
Thank you, guys. Thank you so
Very
much.
good.
Thank you, Ross. Thank you, Kingsley.
Yeah, lovely.
Left
Great
is closest to the heart.
Okay, now of course the important moment is to sign off on the last adventure. We've kept this page open.
These are lovely, huh?
This is where we are, and right, we'll do a nice heading to it, but just a message. There we are, George.
George's flower was open the whole time.
No, it's a great moment, ending an expedition, another successful expedition, with the clear meaning of using adventure to improve and save lives, and Cooper Tires allowing us to get to these various remote places. Signing off here with George, 35,000 kilometers.
So I'm here with Andrew from Ace Brides, and Andrew's come up with this ingenious idea of flat pack brides that you can put in your vehicle, you can take it anywhere. Andrew, what was the inspiration behind coming up with this?
So I owned a bra like this about 12, 13 years ago, and I loved it so much, and I then thought to myself, the guys that manufactured it stopped manufacturing it. So then I got involved in an engineering company. I paid them some money, we redid the jigs, and we commercially launched the product in 2017, my son and myself. And yeah, from there we started with a bra. Customers said, what about a fire pit? So I thought, okay, let's have a look.
Yeah.
So we developed a fire pit. Customers said, what about this? And we looked at that and we said, yeah. So a lot of the development has come from our customers that have used the product.
So you take the customer feedback and then
Sure.
you use that, and then you're able to just perfect it for people that want to use the brand.
Yeah. So there's some really nice, innovative ideas. So we go only stainless steel, and the complete ethos between our business is that it must be portable.
Yeah.
You've got to take the bra and you've got to go and enjoy South Africa, whether it's on the beach, in the bush, in the mountains.
That is valid.
So, you know, guys have got other products at home, they stay at home. These go with you.
And that has always been a thing for me when it came to overlanding. You know, like I've got my 3 rigs, and I've got 3 kids, and I've got me and the wife, and we go out and I look at myself and I have to pack properly. You know, everything has to fit in a space, because we still want camping chairs, we want blankets, we want towels, all of that. So spaces are an issue, and you don't want a cumbersome big bra that's going to be taking up half of the back.
Correct.
So I'm always amazed when things are compact and portable and they're easy to fold up and go into tight spaces.
Correct.
Because the more we can fit in the vans, the better the experience can be. So I've always enjoyed the fact of seeing people coming up with ingenious ideas to be flat pack.
So for example, that bra fits into this bag.
So if you look at this bag, it's like this wafer thin. So at the end of the day, you pack up this bra into a bag this thin, which you're looking at is like 2 centimeters. So this slides between your fridge and your ammo box, or it slides
under your front seat.
something, under your front seat. So that for me is nice, and these bags come with it.
Yes.
Okay, so that's nice. So you're able to portably take it. And I see you've got like brides, and you've got wood cutters, and you've got different little cooking accessories. So you've got quite a full range.
So the whole idea is to make sure that whoever buys a product has a great experience.
Yeah.
And enjoys the product. And if there's issues, they come back, we fix them. Because we don't make a cheap product.
Yeah.
That's the one thing we don't do. Unlike some of the mass guys.
Yeah, but you don't want cheap. You know, you think
I
you're
want
saving a
great
few
quality.
hundred rand, and at the end of the day, you're buying it 3 times in 3 years. You
As
want
Afrikaners say, goed koop is duur koop.
Exactly. Goed koop is duur koop. You want to buy properly the first time. And that's what guys need to understand. Sometimes you can walk into a shop and you can buy something that's 400 rand. But 2 summers later, it's another 400 rand. When you buy something like this and you got the rest of your life, if you clean it and you package it, it's going to last you forever.
100%.
So the thing I wanted to ask you with this is, where is this available? Where can guys get this?
So it's online at acebride.co.za.
Yes, sir. And you're on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, everything.
Correct.
And then stores, are you in any stores?
So we've got some in some of the bra stores, mainly in Gauteng. We're pointing some dealers in Durban. And we're looking for other distributors all around the country.
Yeah.
Because this is the only bra in the country that you can bra on any surface. Only bra.
So you can go anywhere, you can buy on the
With the
tar
bond
now,
bra,
on the
bond bra, on the plastic table, tailgate of a bakkie, any surface is a bra
ready
experience.
surface.
Yeah. These bras are more on the floor bras.
Yeah.
But you know, if you've got a decent seat, you can sit and bra but the compactness is what it's all about.
Yeah, that's the big thing. But look, I wish you only the best with this, because I think it's an ingenious idea, and I think it's only going to get further and bigger and better.
Yeah.
Because this is what we need in the overlanding community. We need compact, small space stuff and durable, long-lasting stuff.
Yeah.
Stuff we're not blowing money on. So I commend you for this. This is really brilliant, and I'm looking forward to trying one of these, especially this one. I like this ammo box size one. This one's
Yes.
nice. So Andrew,
Yeah, thanks,
nice
mate.
meeting you. Keep
Yeah,
well,
same
and
to you.
everything all the best. And
Lekker.
enjoy the rest of the festival. Cheers.
We hopefully have a good time.
Yeah, you will.
Yeah.
Man. So I'm here with Brad from Dessau, and they specialize in Jimny equipment. So it's suspensions. What is it all? What do you guys specialize in for Jimnys?
Yeah, so basically the company name is Dessau 4x4 Adventure Hardware, and we specialize in 4x4 accessories specifically for the Suzuki Jimny at the moment.
Which is a massive market. It's
Massive
insane.
market.
I mean, you look in Cape Town alone, it's blowing up.
Yeah.
Everybody's buying Jimnys.
Well, you've got all those guys like the diehards who drive the old SJ410s, and they've kind of just grown and grown and grown, gone into the Gen 3s, gone into the Gen 4s. So we make accessories for the Gen 3s and the Gen 4. Started off with the front bumper. Linton, one of our owners, made the first bumper out of wood in his garage.
Out of wood as a prototype.
Yeah,
That's
and
mad.
now we've progressed to a fully functioning design solutions for the Suzuki Jimny. Front and rear bumper, underbody protection, rock sliders, roof racks, suspension kits.
And it's fully South African.
Fully South African, and the one thing that we pride ourselves in, it's complete bolt-on drive-off technology. So there's no cutting, no drilling, no nothing compared to...
So you fit it on the vehicle itself, you can do it in your garage, you don't necessarily need to change and
we
alter.
supply DIY fitment instructions for all of our products. However, we do have fitment centers throughout the country.
Yeah, one of my friends actually fits a lot of the equipment, which is Jimny Works. Noel.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, Noel's always got this on his vehicle, and I know how big it is because when we travel in Cape Town, we've always got a lot of Jimnys with us, and we actually see how many of them are on the road now. So tell me, what is the products that are the big sellers?
Sure, big sellers recently have been our long-range tank. So our long-range tank is double the capacity of the OEM tank, so you go from 40 litres to 80 litres.
So you've got double the distance now that you can
Double
travel.
the distance, that peace of mind, everything. Take your trips longer. You got.
And I actually looked at that tank. It molds into the body and it molds everywhere around, so that it doesn't change anything dynamics of the vehicle or anything.
No, it doesn't affect your ground clearance at all whatsoever. And then with that comes an HTP bash plate underneath that we can change if there's any damage done to it.
So where can we get the product?
So we have about close to 60 fitment centres across the country. So anywhere from Cape Town all the way through to East London and further up into Cozy Bay area almost. You can get it.
So, I mean, it's really available. Warranties are not a problem because it's local. You don't have to worry about writing to Australia or anything to get something changed. So that's amazing. So I'm really excited about it. And you guys are going to be, I heard you guys are going to be branching out to other vehicles also, not just the Jimnys.
Yeah, so that's on the cards. It definitely is. We are on our way there. We've come to a stage where the accessories around the Jimny are becoming limited in terms of what more we can create.
Yeah.
And also with that, we're seeing the demand for the build quality and the material quality on other vehicles.
And that's the thing always, there's a lot of guys that sell equipment that's cheap, but the build quality is not there. So if you've got something good here, you need to give it to us Toyota guys and us Mitsubishi guys. You can't keep it just for the Jimnys. Jimnys like have everything already. Like you walk to the shop, you can buy anything with a Jimny. So like it's not fair. You can't market shit like that. You guys need to like share it out with us.
Yeah, so I mean, like with that, all of our bumpers are made out of Domex 700. It's used in the earth moving industry, so it's highly rust resistant. And with that 2mm thickness, you still get the same structural integrity, if not stronger than what you would get with mild steel. So that material is imported from Sweden. However, everything's cut, bent and welded in South Africa, and we manufacture pretty much everything from our factory in Westmead, Durban.
Okay, lekker man. Thank you, Brad. All of the best. I hope to see you in Cape Town soon and we can go out together with a Jimny. Just don't bring like a fully kitted Jimny, bring like a standard Jimny.
Yeah, no muddies, no mud terrain tires, no lift kits, no whatever.
Okay, shot man. Cheers.
Thanks.
You keep well. Nice meeting you. You too.
So around the fire tonight, what story about heart? I thought, a story that I do know was about two African unsung heroes of exploration. Their names were Chuma and Susi. And they were befriended by the great explorer, Dr. David Livingstone, that you all know about. And Dr. David Livingstone had freed these two guys whilst they were like 16, 17 years old. He freed them from slavery, and they had joined his party. Can you imagine the number of campfires like this that they must have shared over some 15, 16 years, trudging across Africa? The wildness of our beautiful continent. And you know, there was Livingstone lost to the world. Why? Because he was out to try and discover for the world the source of the longest and most historic river in the world. The longest and most historic river in the world. Of course, you, sir, with the white t-shirt sitting in the front there, knows that it's the Nile. So there was Livingstone. Imagine the scene. He lost to the world, searching for the source of the Nile, the big geographic sort of mystery of the time. There he meets a man who'd been given the challenge to find him, none other than Henry Morton Stanley. Henry Morton Stanley, the great explorer, and he immortalized those words, Dr. Livingstone, I presume. Wow. So there was Livingstone, searching for the source of the Nile. His teeth were dropping out. He probably had malaria as many times as I have, some 50, 60 times. And there was his team. And in his team were these two black mates of his, Chuma and Susi. So can you believe it? After having been discovered for the world, he doesn't take off back to England and Scotland or to an outdoor show to speak on the stage or to sit around the campfire in the Kalahari. No, he decides he's going to continue and find for the world the source of the Nile, which he believes is in Lake Bangweolo in the north of present-day Zambia. So he treks on, my friends. Can you imagine? There he has Chuma and Susi and 30 other porters, and they're trudging through Africa. It's a story about heart that I'm sharing with you while sitting out in the Kalahari Desert, the largest mantle of vegetated sand in the world. That Kalahari line, by the way, seems to be getting a bit closer as you spoon in some of your favorite stew, the good old goat stew. Sorry about the wind in the mic. The good old goat stew with Imodium. And of course, that's when you cradle your coffee cup, isn't it? That old enamel coffee cup with the dents in it and the old heart. Remember that heart manufacture with a proppy that's melted because of the heat of the fire. And that's when you have another Renoster coffee. And you know most of the Renoster coffee where you take that thin siphon pipe and you've got that special jerry can on the roof rack of the landy, and then you pour a perfect double into each of the enamel mugs there, and you add a bit of dark and foamy, and you sit around a campfire in the Kalahari, and we're talking about the story of David Livingstone's two mates, Chuma and Susi, the two unsung heroes of African exploration. I've got about another 5 minutes with you to tell the story, and then I'm going to invite Grant Foles from Project Rhino to come up onto the stage. But let's get through with the journey of Livingstone. He's bleeding to death. We are on a journey to follow in his footsteps. The landies can go no more. It's too swampy. We've got some made in India bicycles, and we're going by dugout and on foot, doing Livingstone's last journey. We open the pages of one of the last, or the last note that he ever wrote in his life. And he says, Chuma, please find me some milk goats. Because all he could digest was milk. He was bleeding to death. Ironically, not dying from malaria, he was dying from like a, what would you call it, just a lump, a hard lump in his stomach. His poor guy was suffering so badly. They put him in the base of an old dugout canoe. They rowed it across the last river that he ever crossed in his life. There we were, following so many years later, the wind in the mud. Trying to turn my body a bit this way, doesn't help. Can you hear at the back there, Sheila? It's all right, eh? Because we're talking about this poor Livingstone fella. And you know, when you're on a journey in Africa, it's all about stories. And you know, their local chief had heard all about these two guys. They'd heard all about Livingstone crossing the last river in his life in a dugout canoe. And of course, they carry Livingstone off the dugout canoe. They go into Chief Chitambo's village in the north of Zambia, Lake Bangwero. And they build a little rudimentary shelter for him. We're talking about heart, courage. They build a little rudimentary shelter for him. They station one of the porters, a guy called Majora, a youngster, outside this rudimentary shelter. It's raining softly. And at about 4 o'clock in the morning, Mujara sounds the kudu horn. The sound through the night. They come running, Chuma and Susi, and they find Livingston dead. They touch his brow, it's cold. Now you would have thought, my friends, I'm telling you a story about heart, it's just come to mind. You would have thought that they would have just early morning dug a hole, taken their mate's body, Livingston, and just thrown it in a hole, covered up, end of story. But as I said, we're talking about courage, heart, and what Africa needs. They didn't do that. They took their Livingston, they cut his chest open. They removed the intestines, they cut out the heart. The heart they put into an old biscuit tin, waterproof biscuit tin that Livingston used to keep his journals in. This they buried under a giant mapondo tree. And then, much like a fish caught in the Great Lakes of Central Africa or a piece of biltong, they turned it this way and that, salted it. Took about a month to dry. Of course, they had to build a stockade around it to keep out the vultures and the predators. Just like that black-maned lion we can hear in the distance, or the cackle of our hyena as we camp in the Kalahari. We're telling stories. This is an amazing story, my friends, that I share with you about heart and passion. Once the body was dry, they put the body into a hollow box cylinder, having first wrapped it in a piece of old sailcloth, and they carried it for over 1,000 miles across Africa. You talk about heart and passion. When they got to Bagamoyo, who's been to Bagamoyo opposite Zanzibar? Hands up in Tanzania. There, a lady at the back, Sheila. And of course, John. John's from Kenya. John heads up the Land Rover Club of Durban. Nice to have you here, John. Bagamoyo opposite Zanzibar. And you know, 600 freed slaves walk past the piece of biltong that is Livingston, and they pay their respects to a man that called slavery the open sore of the world. The body next day was taken across to Zanzibar, and then it was taken by sea all the way to the Royal Geographical Society. And it was buried, of course, under the nave, in the nave of Westminster Abbey, minus the heart that still lies in African soil. So yes, heart and passion is what we need here in Africa at the moment. That was just a story from the past. And I remember we've left the campfire now, we're standing on the stage at this wonderful Expo. And I remember that after that expedition to pay respects to the last journey of Dr. David Livingstone, we took 2 Land Rovers around the world, fitted with Cooper tires, of course. Took 2 Land Rovers around the world following 23 degrees 27, the Tropic of Capricorn. You know, that line of latitude that links the old supercontinent of Gondwanaland together. And you can well guess what nicknames we gave to those 2 Land Rovers. Of course, Chuma and Susi, the 2 brave hearts of African exploration. We all here, my friends, I think it's because we have an absolute love for this continent. All good, all bad, all at the same time, but you can't beat it. You know, we talked about Kilimanjaro. You know, you talk about looking into the brown eyes of a silverback gorilla, knowing it can just reach out its hand and break your neck, but there's this beauty of Africa. I know a number of you have stopped and gazed at 1.3 million wildebeest in the world's largest migration of hoofed animals in the place the Maasai call Serengeti. Don't we live in just the most fascinating continent? So I beg all of you, take the key, put it into the ignition, turn it, and start another adventure. Africa awaits you. The wild places, the campfire, the Renoster coffee. Put some Cooper tires on your vehicle and take off and keep on discovering this beautiful continent. As the rand falls and everything gets so difficult in Europe, do you really want to be on the borders of Ukraine right now? No, you don't. So let's enjoy Mama Africa. My last story before I hand over to Grant Folds, who's waiting in the wings, who heads up Project Rhino here in KZN, well, across the world really, and the Project Rhino ambassador has just come back from America on a fundraiser, doing so much good work for our rhinos, is Sheila. I might need your help in this. You might have to shout. I don't know if I'll hear you. We've just come back from a journey. The vehicle, the Land Rover, is parked outside at the gate. And we've just got back from a journey to take 3 landies from Cape Agulhas, the southernmost tip of our African continent, where the 2 oceans meet, Indian Ocean and Atlantic, and armed with a few pebbles and a calabash of seawater taken from that spot. We zigzagged across Africa, my friends, going like hell. Of course, there was a war in Ethiopia, so we sort of zigzagged and went through southern Sudan, got into enormous trouble with rebels in the buffer zone between the 2 Sudans, eventually made it across the Nubian desert, all the way around on the Libyan side, crossing the Sahara. Eventually got the vehicles to Alexandria and Egypt. We had a clear challenge. It was to be the first Cooper Tires Land Rover journey ever in history to race from Cape Agulhas, the southernmost point of Africa, to the northernmost point that you could drive a vehicle to in the Arctic Circle in Norway. Sheila's going to remind me about the Eastern European countries. None of us had crossed Eastern Europe before. And you know, the news, oh, I tell you, our hearts were in our boots. Ukraine was already just ablaze, this horrific war between Russia and the Ukraine. So what do the countries, see? So Greece, North Macedonia, Kosovo, Montenegro, Serbia, Hungary, Slovakia, Poland, Lithuania, Latvia, Estonia, Finland, Norway. I remember being caught by the border guards on the Belarus border. We'd be camping in the forest, and the Polish border guards are tough blokes. They said, "What are you doing? Look at these vehicles, South Africa." Well, don't you know there's a war? So, I said, we're camping in the forest because, yes, it gets more expensive as we go north. We once had the audacity to price a kg of rump steak in Norway. It was 1,350 rand. We said, not a damn, we lived on chicken for weeks. Fortunately, we'd smuggled a bit of vodka from Finland. So, these border guards, eventually they put away their guns. They read the scroll of peace and goodwill that we carry on each expedition. This is expedition number 40. They saw the pictures with the likes of Nelson Mandela and other world leaders, and opened the pages all about what Africa needs most and the world needs most, and certainly that area needs most, is about peace and goodwill. And when they'd gone through all the messages and everything, they pulled off their badges. They were velcroed onto their uniforms, and they pulled off their badges and they stuck them into the South African scroll of peace and goodwill, and they said, "This is what the world needs." I said, "Go in peace, brothers," and they posed for pictures and everything. They said, "The only thing that we'd really like is we'd like to join you on the journey." So, there's so much peace and goodwill and everything. We made it to Noordkap. We emptied the calabash that we'd taken all the way from Cape Agulhas. We built a little isibiban of stones. What a journey. A journey that actually ended up in Wales, in Anglesey, in Red Wolf Bay, where the first landing had been sketched in the sand 75 years before. There we built another little isibiban of stones that we carried all the way from our Ferris Cape. So what did it teach you? What did it teach us, our little group of South Africans in our landies? What did it teach us? It taught us, my friends, that there's no place like home. 35,000 kilometers, 30 countries, 300 days in a roof tent. Those Arctic storms, blew us to hell and back. And we came back, no place like Mama Africa, and no place like home. Sorry.